Everybody, I'm here with my good friend Anna Avad. We work together at Steinbeck Real Estate, and we've had a lot of great discussions over the last few months. And thought it'd be great to take the time tonight to get to know your story more and just hear some insights you might have for those in the real estate market that have some questions or concerns. Would love to hear your story. Would love to hear kind of your insights. And so, tell us, Anna, where did you grow up, and how did you get into real estate?
Okay, well, thank you, of course, for having me on. So I grew up here in Salinas, but an adult, my husband and I moved away to Bakersfield, then we came back, and then we moved to Las Vegas, then we came back, so now we're back. But I was born here in Salinas,
Okay, cool. Where'd you go to high school?
North High.
North Salinas, go Vikings,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I went to North Monterey County.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
cool. So, in when you said you were in real estate for over 20 years, so tell us about how you got started.
Yeah, so back in the day, you for the to be a lender, because that's where I started in lending,
Okay.
you just had to have your real estate license. So and it was only the principals test that you or the principals class that you had to take back then. Now I think it's three classes you have to take. But back then it was just real estate principles, and you get your license and you were able to be a mortgage lender. So that's where I started out at. Um, and then when we moved to Bakersfield, the company that I was working for, I told them, that we were going to move away and that I pretty much was giving my notice, but it was with Atlas Fine. Gosh, it's pretty sad that I don't remember
No,
Atlas
I know
Financial.
what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember.
So, anyways, well, he said, no, you're not going to leave. I'll just open up an office over there. Because back then, Bakersfield was hot. I mean, people were buying houses over there left and right. So,
And so what year was this around?
this was in 2004. It was 2004.
Oh wow. So it's kind of the
Yeah, it was
beginning
in
of the really hot
2004.
market. Yeah.
Right. So then we stood there. I opened an office there for them. And then the market crashed. And 2008 um, is when we decided to come back because, my business went from way up here to nothing. So,
Do you remember
mhm.
starting to see signs, because you started in mortgages and you got into real estate? I'm sure before things crashed, what, 07, 08, I'm sure there were signs, right? What were some of the signs you started to
Yeah,
see?
you could see that people were having trouble because um, what was big back then was the pick-a-pay loan. And that's what a lot of people got into. And basically it was you had four options to pay. It was going to be the minimum payment, which you were not even paying all of your interest at all. So if you paid that every month, your balance was going up and up and
Oh,
up.
wow.
Yeah, and then there was interest only, then there was fully amortized. I can't remember what the other one was. There was one other one though. So there was four. Well, people were paying that minimum payment and you could see it. They were starting to call, we need to get out of this loan. We need to, so it just, you could see it right there. And
Right.
houses started going on the market. Then you saw foreclosures and short sales. So it was bad. It was bad.
So
Um,
your business changed. You came back home from Bakersfield, what, in '08?
yeah, I had the bright idea. People couldn't pay their mortgage, so I'm going to get into I'm doing nails. I'm a manicurist. What was I thinking?
Well, I mean,
I don't know what I was thinking, but I ended up getting my manicurist license. We didn't quite move back yet, but I did stop doing loans and I figured I was going to do nails. So I hung my license at Vanco Real Estate in Salinas.
oh yeah, I
And
remember them.
yeah, just as a realtor, didn't use it. It was just more of a referral. And then, basically, I wasn't doing very well with manicurists because people couldn't pay their mortgage. How were they going to get their nails done?
Right, right.
So we ended up finally moving back into town to Salinas, and I gave it a shot, and I loved it. I mean, I just kind of hit very well. It was, or I was good at it, I guess. That's what I should
Yeah.
say, because I did do very well right from the get go. So that's how I got into sales. and I like it. I like the sales better than I like doing the loans.
Okay.
So that's how I
Are you
started.
still licensed in both?
Well, no, because back then it was only the real estate license you needed.
Right.
So now I did get my NMLS, but I didn't use it. I just feel it's a conflict because, you know, we have our lenders and we have our realtors.
Yeah.
You should stay in your lane is what
Yeah.
I always think. It's
Yeah.
best just to let them do their part, you do your job, and everything will be fine.
I kind of
So
agree with you. I kind of agree with
yeah,
you.
I
If
mean, and
you
there's a lot of people that do great doing both.
right,
I just prefer to do one.
right.
So, and I get to work with a lot of great lenders.
And what was the thing that kind of made you prefer, being a realtor versus a lender?
I think the freedom, because as a lender, you are really stuck in the office. So, I do like it. I mean,
And that's because
I
you're
don't have a
processing paperwork and
right.
meeting with
Yeah.
clients. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As a
And
realtor, you get to get out and see houses and travel. Yeah.
exactly. You're out there showing houses, so it doesn't feel like you're stuck in the office all day.
Mm.
So, I really like sales though.
So then you were back home, started to do well. And when did
Mhm.
Vegas come about?
Let's see. So my husband was offered a job over there in Vegas in 2011. So we went ahead and we moved over to Vegas. Um, and still had my license here and used it more of a referral. And
Did
then
you get
just went,
licensed in Nevada?
no, no, we didn't. I didn't. I ended up managing the office that he worked for.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so I still held my license, kept my license up, and just would refer if I had anybody that called me, I'd refer it. So we did that, and so that was in 2011, and then my grandma got sick, and I was missing the family. I was missing the family, so I told them
Quite a
it's
different
time.
climate, Vegas
It
to
is,
here.
but we both we don't mind moving
Yeah.
to especially where there's sun because we
Yeah.
both like being
And a lot
outside
more to
when
do,
it's nice, yeah.
a lot more
But
entertainment.
yeah, but I can't do that now. We have 7 grandchildren. There's no way.
Wow.
So but
How
yeah,
many
but we
kids?
both we have three grown children and 7 grandchildren.
Oh my God, that's beautiful. Amazing. Well,
Yeah.
yes, probably called you back home to stay local.
Yeah, well, it's when my grandma got sick. So that's when I was missing home, and so we decided to come back. And it's just been great ever since
And so when was it that you came back this last time?
2014.
2014. Okay. So
Yeah.
the market had, I remember, kind of recovered. There was more kind of strict
Mhm.
rules put into place on the lending side, which I think
Right.
was a good thing, right? So that people who weren't really qualified weren't getting these loans and then losing their homes. Um,
Exactly.
and there were some changes made. I think it was probably for the better. Things really kind of heated up, and then I got my license in 2019. Uh, and
Oh.
right as I was learning the business, okay, let's go, let's get ready, let's learn, let's study, open houses, starting to call, starting to door knock. All of a sudden, I got my first deal and contract right at the beginning of 2020. Closed my first deal in February of 2020 and was excited, had a bunch of things in the works. All of a sudden, boom, pandemic. I'm
Yep.
like,
Sit
and
down.
then it was like, no more open houses, no more door knocking. You can't meet with clients in person. And it was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God. And I remember, like, why are we still paying desk fees if you're locking us out of the office? I was with Intero at the time, which is a good company, but they weren't
Uh-huh.
really, tech savvy. They're kind of old school.
Yeah,
So
well, nobody really knew what to do. I mean, it was
yeah.
just from one day to the next, no, you can't come into the office. And then a couple people would go into the office and then you found out they had COVID. So
Oh, yep.
yeah. So it's like, okay, then we get all these messages and stuff, not come in the office.
Yeah,
But
totally.
yeah, but that was my best year.
I actually had a pretty good year too, even considering the pandemic, because
Yeah.
the demand was so high and the
Yep.
rates were so low, right?
Yep.
I mean, looking back now, I just kick myself that I was not prepared to buy when the rates were so good, as a
Yeah.
lot of us feel that way. Um,
Right.
I, you know, it was a good time. I'm glad that I learned. It was also challenging, but I'm grateful for the clients I was able to help in that season. And then I
Mhm.
personally just kind of, slowed down and was kind of doing more referral, like you mentioned in that season, was doing some
Mhm.
other things, got married and got into a different job. But I love real estate, and it's everybody keeps wanting for things to go back to normal. I don't think there's a such thing as normal anymore. And
This is our new normal. This is it. We
no
just got to
normal.
roll with the punches.
And I remember all the people saying, "Oh, lucky you, you're in real estate right now." I'm like, well, the real estate market in 2020 to 2022 was really great for veterans, for people who are already in the business for a while, had the network, had the experience. If you had just started, that was a really hard time to just start, right?
Yeah.
So fortunately, I was able to be on a team and like get some good mentorship. And now with all this stuff that just happened last year with the court decision and the changes at the national level, there's just because the rates doubled, tripled, and then all of a sudden this lawsuit came in, we've lost quite a few agents. So what for you, being that you've been through a few cycles, what
Mhm.
kind of keeps you in the business, and how do you kind of adjust to the challenges?
Well, I always keep in touch with my client. My sphere of influence is what I do, and I'm on social media quite a bit, like every day,
You're
all day long.
hilarious, by the way. I love you on social media. You said you were
um,
shy to do a podcast. I'm like, what are you talking about? Your TikTok's
because I'm having to
hilarious.
talk. When I
Yeah.
do a video, it's me. It's just
Oh
me.
man.
So when I have to talk to somebody, yeah, that's when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna,
Yeah, totally.
but yeah, so for me, it's just staying in touch with all of my clients, past clients, because that's my business. It's mostly referral. I get a lot of
Yeah.
referrals from people that I've done business with in the past. I've sold people houses maybe 3 times sometimes too.
Yeah.
So it's all about keeping in front of your clients or your sphere of influence. I always tell this story because it's my sister. Um, so a few years ago, now mind you, I got into sales in 2008 is when I put my license over into sales. So I would say maybe like a few years ago. I can't remember how long. Oh, I thought you were still doing loans. And I'm like, really? All these years? So it's like
Yep.
you have to really stay in front of people and let them know what you do
I
because
know.
you could be working with somebody and or just know somebody, okay? You could just know somebody, you send them your card and everything, and they happen to be at a party or talking to somebody and somebody say something about real estate. Oh yeah, I'm thinking about selling. Just like that, they could
Yep.
be gone.
Yep.
If you're not in front of them all the time.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough because it's a little bit uncomfortable, right? You don't want your
Yeah.
friends and family to feel like, oh, you're just trying to sell me something, or you're just trying to get my listing. So it's a real delicate balance. I think you do a great
Yeah.
job of it. It's a delicate balance in your content creation. It's a delicate balance in your outreach to your database. Is to remind them that you're there to help. And for me, even though it can be uncomfortable sometimes, I've said I'd rather be a little bit uncomfortable and awkward than someone I care about have a bad experience. Now, if you don't want to
Yeah.
work with me because, as a realtor, you kind of become a guide and an advisor, and you're sharing sensitive information like your bank statements and you don't have to tell your realtor everything, but you have to tell your lender everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a realtor, I'm like, whatever you're comfortable with, I can sit in on the meeting with you, or I don't have to. If you don't, so sometimes people aren't comfortable for you knowing their financial situation.
Absolutely.
That might be true, but in other cases, like you said, it's just out of sight, out of mind. And so it's like
Yeah.
we got to overcome that awkwardness and let people know, hey, I'm here to help you. Let me
Mm-hmm.
know if you ever need anything. And it's a little bit uncomfortable, but it's worth it because you know that you're going to do a good job for them.
Right, right.
And
And
you
it
got to eat
happens.
too.
I mean, there's times where like I was at a Rotary event the other day training and I was sitting next to this lady and she's like, "Oh, where are you from?" And I told her and she's like, "Oh, we're going to be moving to Hollister." And I was like, "Oh, that's good." I go, "I can help you if you're do you have an agent?" And she's like, "No, not yet." And I said, "Okay, well, here's my card." I didn't get her information. So years
Rookie
of
move.
being in the business. Yeah, it's rookie move, but I'm like, what am
Yeah,
I thinking? Yes, I did give her my card, but how am I going to contact her now? I don't
totally.
remember her name.
Totally.
So, there's times where, yeah, rookie move, rookie move.
So one of the tenets of being good at sales, of any sales, but especially in real estate, like you said, being consistent, calling your database, sending letters. But for you, I love your social media. What dimension has that brought to it, to where you're just having fun, showing your life, being goofy? Have you made some connections there? Have you gotten some clients from your social media?
I've had a few, not too many. I feel like I'm just starting because actually I just started being that silly this year.
I love it.
Just actually putting it out there. So I've had like some DMs come through, hey, how much is that house, things like that.
Right.
But so I've had a few people reach out, but I haven't closed anything from social media.
Well,
Um,
let's make it a goal for both of
it
us. In
is going to be
2025, we're going to
that's the
close
goal.
a client
Yeah,
from social media. Maybe we'll do a deal together.
right. There you go.
What would you tell, knowing what you've been through with the 2008 crisis, with the pandemic, with the current issue with high rates and uncertainty about the economy and the new laws with the NAR lawsuit and all that, overcoming all of that, would you advise people to get into the business? Would you advise people to get out of the business? Like, what would you say to someone who's watching this and says, I think I want to do real estate? What would be your
Make
advice?
sure that you have money put away.
Good advice.
It's very expensive to be a realtor, as you know.
Yep.
To get in the get-go, when you sign up for, the association, MLS, anything, that's a couple grand easy,
Yep.
and you don't know how long it's going to take you. I mean, for me, I was lucky that I was able to, start doing business right away, but I know people that haven't, and it's
Right.
tough. So all I can say, the best um, that I could say is just start talking to people.
Yeah.
Start talking to people, letting them know what you're doing, but stay on it. Don't just send one letter and then nothing.
Right.
Be consistent. You have to be consistent. Send something once a month, even if
Yep.
it's just a card or something, just thinking of you, if you need anything, give me a
Right.
call.
No,
Uh,
I think you can be successful even as an introvert, but if you absolutely can't talk to people, then you probably won't succeed, because even if you're not doing a ton of prospecting,
mhm,
you're going to be dealing with other agents and inspectors during a transaction,
yeah.
right? So tell us what are some crazy stories that you've dealt with clients and during a transaction?
Okay, there's one that always comes to mind because it's I was so embarrassed is I always I have to be careful now because I tell them, would you like to be on a group text message? So I had my first group text message with a husband and a wife.
Oh.
And yeah, so I ended up, this was years ago. It was like probably 2009.
Some
Um,
flip phones. I'm just kidding.
yeah, and I received a message that was intended for the husband.
Oh,
So it was awkward. It was awkward. I didn't know what to do. I even went up to my broker. What do I do? I don't know what to do at this point.
oh well.
And she's like, they're the ones who are going to be embarrassed, not you. But I was like, I was embarrassed.
It's secondhand embarrassment, yeah.
Yeah. So, needless to say, a couple days go by, I don't hear from them, and then all of a sudden it's okay.
Yeah.
But so that, what else? Letting a cat out of an open house that we shouldn't have let out of the house. So we're trying to
Oh.
find the cat. Trying to lure a cat back in the house is not.
Animals can be a challenge, yes. Animals with showings and open houses, animals are
Oh
always a
yeah.
challenge. Yeah.
And then another one, I was holding an open house by myself, and they had three dogs in the backyard. Well, I mean, I like dogs, but I'm afraid of the big ones.
Yeah,
Well,
if you don't know them, yeah.
yeah, well, I had been around this dog before with the owners being in there, but I was by myself in the house. The dog got in the house and I was freaking out, but he didn't do anything. He just went, sat on the couch, and that was it. But I was freaking out. I know something.
Intimidated, yeah.
But yeah, just things like that. I've heard people that walk in on unsuspecting tenants that are there. Not bad, but
Yeah.
just things like that. Just communication. You always have to be really good about communication when you're holding an open house, whether it be a tenant or
Yeah.
an owner. Just remember that. Remind them that you're coming.
have the paper trail. Remind them
Yeah,
that the group text is in fact a group text.
right. Yes.
What are
Double check
some
before you send anything.
what are some success stories that you've had for yourself or for clients where, maybe it was an impossible situation and you pulled it off, or you got them this much above asking or this many offers, or
Mhm.
what are some big stories you've had for your clients?
So, and this is just for people that are getting into the business. This is something I think it's important to know because somebody would have probably given up. But I showed houses to this family for about a year and a half.
Wow.
And every time I'd show them, okay, let me know if you want to see, if you want to make an offer or no. And then they would ghost me. Um, so then finally we found them a house and they closed on it, but it was a year and a half. So
Persistence.
yeah, so some people would have just said, hey, you know what, they don't call me back or anything after
Right.
that. I'm not going to do it. But you know, it worked out.
You
And
gotta,
I
if
ended
you
up,
want, go ahead, sorry.
yeah, no, I ended up, closing on their house with them. And then the most recent one was a listing that I have because I'm more of a listing agent now. So the most recent one is some friends of ours had referred me over to a house that needed a lot of work, and they said, "Oh, it's pretty bad." So I went and I looked at it, and it's not as bad as you think. It's more cosmetic. So I told the seller, this is what I think that you're going to get offers from investors, because they're going to want to come in and pay cash. They'll close it in 10 days and they'll do it all themselves. So I told her how much I thought they were going to give her. And she thought about it and she's like, well, let me think. So then we get two offers from investors, and they were slightly lower than what I had told her. And she said, no, I want more money. And I said, okay, then let's put some money into it. So we painted and we put new flooring in, maybe $15,000. And she ended up getting, let's see, if she would have accepted one of those offers, she ended up getting $130,000 more.
Oh,
It
wow.
rather than what she would have received from an investor.
Oh, wow.
So, things like that, if you really, because to the naked eye, to somebody who doesn't know, that house looked really bad. But when you look at it, it was just paint and flooring. That's it.
Yeah,
And
just
it was a smaller house. Yeah. So if you put a little
following
bit
your
of money
advice.
into it,
I
yeah.
think I might have hosted that open house from your listing, but just following advice,
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah, you did.
realtors really become a guide if you're willing to listen. And I've learned this the good, the easy, and the hard way. That and now as I have a little bit, I'm going on year six, or I'm in year six, even though I haven't been really full time in a while. But I've been through enough transactions to know that I'm good. I've made mistakes, but I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing, and I'm willing to fight for my clients. But you
Hmm.
can only push them so far. If they don't want to listen
Right.
on price, or they don't want to listen on
Exactly.
when you tell them, "Hey, this needs some work," and they're like, "Oh, they want top dollar, but it needs a lot of work," and that's always a
Hmm.
challenging conversation. Or they've done work, but maybe it's not up to par, or it's not up to the standards that the buyers want, or
Right.
it's always a challenge to
Yeah,
bring the two parties together.
it is. And because, I'm a stager as well.
Yeah.
And like sometimes agents will ask me to stage homes or come in and give them a consultation. And for some people, they don't like it when you tell them, oh, you got to move this or that, or they take offense to it right
Totally.
away. And it's hard because you're just trying to tell, and I know it's not, and I try to tell them, please don't take it personal. We're just trying to, make your home more peaceable to everybody's
Right.
taste, not just one certain person. You have wonderful taste, but maybe somebody else might not like that. They may come in and they'll just be looking at your pictures. They're not going to be looking at your home, you know?
People get you have these TV shows, right, like Selling Sunset or $1 Million Listing. So people think that real estate is so glamorous, and sometimes it can be, right? Sometimes you're sipping champagne at an event, or you're showing a million, multi-million-dollar property on the coast. But more often than not, it's like what you talked about, arguing with clients about, not arguing, but like having that debate with clients about
Mm-hmm.
the carpet that's old and smells and needs to be replaced, or those
Yeah.
kind of things. Or, people think, oh, realtors are overpaid. And that's why a lot of people were celebrating that decision last year. And it's like, the commissions have always been negotiable. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what you're talking about. And so, but when you really think about, like you said, sometimes you're spending a year and a half with no pay, you're paying for the gas, you're driving all over California. And
Mhm.
the other thing is, as a realtor, you're not just their real estate agent, you're sometimes their financial advisor, their interior
Counselor.
designer, their psychological counselor, their marriage attorney. You help them with their kids. There's all these things that you end up kind of doing in the best circumstances. Sometimes it's just a
Right.
cold transaction. Other times you become family. Like there's clients I've met
Yeah.
through real estate that have become like family, and other agents as well. So that's pretty cool. So talk about how did you wind up at Steinbeck Real Estate? And that's kind of how we became friends and coworkers. And how long have you been
Yeah.
there?
So it's going on 2 years in June. I was with another company in Salinas for about 6 years. And then, you get calls all the time, people wanting to, lure you over to another company. And I always would say, no, 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 I'm fine, I'm fine. Well, this time they just got me on a good date.
Yeah.
So I had lunch with this lady and I ended up going with them, but it was in Gilroy. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to Gilroy, and I can do good. I'm doing good here. I can do good over there too.
Oh
I
wow.
love the weather in Gilroy. I love it. It's hot.
Higher price points. Yeah. I left
Yeah.
Gilroy to come back to Salinas.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too
Well,
hot for me. Too hot for me.
it didn't work. It didn't work for me. It was one of my worst years.
Oh,
I lasted there 1 year. And I know it had a lot to do with me mentally too.
yeah.
And the manager there too, she's like, you're not yourself. There's something, and I wanted to come home. I wanted to come
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So I knew Angela from, Rotary and just being out, in real estate. I know her. I worked at that company years ago when I first started in loans.
Oh
So,
wow.
so yeah, so I knew her. I love the way she's funny,
Yeah.
she does all my stupid little videos,
Yeah.
you know, um,
Never a
and
dull
she's
moment with you
smart.
guys. Yeah.
She's very smart, and
Yeah.
I look up to her, you know. If she can do it as a single woman, I can do it as a married woman. I
Totally.
can be just as successful as her, because if she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Um, so she's just very inspiring.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I can learn so much from her. And I just feel like I'm home now. It's a really great company, and anytime I need help, she's there, and it's just a great group.
Yeah, it's a fun group. I'm one
Mhm.
of the only guys, unfortunately, but it definitely is a fun group, and all the events that you guys throw are really cool, and always giving back to the community. Seems like always doing some kind of a drive or fundraiser for the community, which is awesome. I love our office downtown. But something else you took on recently is
Mhm.
Women's Council of Realtors. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so Women's Council of Realtors, I actually, the first year I was with them is 2019. And so then the following year, we thought everything was going to be okay after two. I'm sorry, my computer's dying here. Sorry.
No worries.
Um, so in 2019 is okay. Hold on, Jordan. I'm sorry,
No
because it
worries.
says that it's going to die, but it's plugged in. So okay. So in 2019, I was invited to go to Women's Council and said, "Hell, you should be on the board. All you need to do is just take minutes as secretary." Okay, that's all I need to do. That's all you need to do. Well, no, you need a lot more. Of course, there was a lot more to it. But going to the seminars they had, it's almost, I mean, the only way I can explain it is like you're going to church. That feeling you get
Yeah.
when you're in church and you're worshiping, that is the feeling you get when you're at women's council events. There, of course, we're all realtors, no competition. It's just all like sisters, And yeah,
Supportive.
there's
Yeah.
there's a few men that are in it too, and there's lenders, but there are strategic partners. But what I'm trying to get at is there's no competition at
Mhm.
all. We're all there to collaborate, give each other props and show each other, love, and you make these connections. Like if you told me you had somebody in New Jersey, I got somebody you can refer it to. You
Yep.
got somebody in Florida, I got somebody over there too.
Right.
So it's just, I have a whole new referral network,
That's awesome.
so
And now you're the
so now
president.
I'm president.
Okay.
And yeah, so doing that, I love it. I have a great team. Wouldn't be as successful without the team that I have. The board is all great women. Two of them are well, there's total three of us that are from Steinbeck Real Estate.
Well, I
So
know that's awesome. I know you ladies do great work there through that organization. They partner with a lot of other local nonprofits and
yeah.
organizations and do great work. I can't wait to attend one of your next events. And it's true with real estate. It's funny because there can be a real kind of competitive,
Hmm.
combative element to it with certain people. I've been in certain rooms, so I'm like, oh, it's uncomfortable in here. Like all the people in here just feel
Yeah, that's where you're
shady,
like,
you know,
I'm out of
and
here.
that's there.
Don't
There's
need that.
shark.
There's enough business for everybody.
There's definitely sharks in the real estate game for sure, on the client side and on the agent side. But then there's others where you feel that family connection, you feel that support, because just like being a parent or just like being a spouse or just like being a whatever profession, you don't know it until you do it. And when
Right.
when you do it, and you've been in the trenches as an agent and with clients and through the ups and downs of the markets, there's a certain like humility and tiredness that comes from that, that
Yeah.
only other parents understand or only other realtors understand. Like, I've done videos in the past from sitting there writing an offer, eating my first meal of the day at 11 o'clock at night in my car, in a sketchy neighborhood. But anything to get it done, because like you said, a year and a half and those clients aren't making an offer, and then they want to make an offer, and it's probably an
Yeah, you better
inconvenient
be
time for
there
you.
to write
It's
it.
probably a very inconvenient time for you, but you got to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
And they joke about realtors on vacation. They say if
It's
you want to
true
get it, you
though.
want to get
It's
business, go
true.
on vacation, and also your phone's blowing up. I know that
It's a
Angela.
running joke with my husband and our friends that we go on vacation with. Anna brought her laptop. You're gonna sell a house. You're gonna sell.
Totally. Well, then you meet people from other, that you might meet clients at the pool, right? At the
Yeah.
all you can drink, all inclusive. I know that you guys, I know that Angela went, I think, and Catalina went to Cancun this past
Yeah.
winter, and they want to make that an annual team trip. So I got to work hard to qualify. So I'm starting off slow this year, but I got a few things in the works. I'm ready to close. But I'm looking forward to hopefully doing transaction with you this year, and I'm grateful to be part of the
Same
new
here.
office. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us today. I'd love hearing your story. Where can people find you if they're looking for you?
So Steinbeck Real Estate, and my phone number is 831-809-9763. If you have any questions about real estate at all, please feel free to give me a call.
What about your social media where they can see these hilarious videos you're making?
Oh, so Anna Bod Realtor on IG, and Anna Bod on Facebook, and I am also on TikTok. And I think it's just Anna Bod, but my little handle on the bottom says Your Home Girl.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I definitely looking forward to collaborating with you more. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, and look forward to having a good spring and summer in real estate together. Have a great
That's
night.
right. Good luck to you. We'll talk to you
Awesome. We'll
soon.
be in touch. Thank you so much again,
Okay.
Anna. Take
All
care.
right. You're welcome. Bye-bye.